Jolan True and welcome to another exciting day in our galaxy. And to complete the topic from yesterday, so to speak, I want to talk about faction locks again today. Because some things have changed in the game since I made a video on that in the first place, and I want to give you a little update today. But first, let's talk about the general stuff. You have to collect reputation for the different factions. And in case of the so-called FKR factions, that's the Federation, the Klingon and the Romulans, you can gain and lose reputation. And that is in some cases very annoying. The other ones like the Bajorans, like the X-Borg and so on, and the Section 31, so they will only climb. You will never lose something there. But FKR will gain and lose reputation, and so you need to work your way up and keep a lot of things in mind. I talked about this when I made the video in the original time. Then you don't always have to keep an eye on that. First of all, you will concentrate, if you follow kind of my philosophy in the early stages, will concentrate on one faction, get a gain there until you reach the first lock, because there are 4 locks in this game where you cannot lose reputation anymore. It's kind of a 5th as well, because there's one on the bottom side, so to speak, you cannot fall under. So while you work on one, you will drop with the other two, but you can never go below minus 2 million reputation. So there's the end. It will never go lower. So that's the bottom from which you will have to work your way up later when you concentrate on the next one. And then there are the 4 real faction locks. That's at 10 million reputation points, 1 billion reputation points, 15 billion reputation points, and 500 billion reputation points. Sounds like a gigantic amount, especially if you are newer in this game and playing this for the first time. But believe me, it will kind of be a steady grind. It will not get harder in the end. And in a lot of cases, it will get a little bit easier, but it will still feel like stretching the time until you get from one to another and so on. I have all my 3 factions at the 15 billion lock. And that's something that I always want to do. Once I get one faction to a lock, I start with the next one. That was always my philosophy. I know there are 2 philosophies out there. One is take one faction, work on that faction until you reach the first lock, and it's 10 million, as I said, and then pick the other. And then when the second one is locked, take the third one. I know there's another philosophy out there that say, no, do 2 at a time and do the third later. From my personal view, it's easier to do it with 1 in the beginning. And that's where we come to the update part of this video. So in the beginning, to the 10 million lock, I would always go with 1 faction. One after another. That's really easiest for me. After that, it depends a little bit on what ops levels are you, how good are your ships, because at this point we enter something that I was talking about yesterday in my reputation event video, and that is once again those hostiles here in the mirror universe. That's why I just kept the screen right there for today's video. You know, I'm filming all the videos on Wednesday, so of course I'm filming this right after the other. And you see the Tau Ceti system and the miner symbol or the survey ship symbol there. There are now miners that bring reputation points for all 3 factions at the same time. In the past, at the time when I made the video the first time, you only had 3 places for very good reputation gains. The best ones for certain levels were Sol, Kronos, and Romulus. But you would always gain reputation for 2 there and lose for 1. In case of these miners here, you will not lose any reputation. You will only gain reputation. So from the time when you can hunt for reputation in these systems, then it is not a big problem to work on all three factions at the same time. But it really means you have to grind a lot in these systems. You have to make sure you have enough of these mirror keys to get in there. And then you can work on all three factions at the same time. That's what I'm doing at the moment. Not steadily, because I'm still concentrating on one again, because I want to reach a certain reputation to get blueprints for a certain ship. So I'm speeding on one and just try to make sure that the other two are not falling down, or just keep the level they are at the moment. And then I will take care of them a bit later once again. But I can do this especially because of those miners here. And those miners in this system, like Tau Ceti, and for me at the moment, my standard system of working is here is Mirror Perelion. My ship is not that strong, for example, to go to Vulcan, which is another system like this, the 65 system. The difference between 61 and 65 reputation-wise is not that big. And I survive much longer in Perelion, so I go to Perelion instead of Vulcan. Will get much better once I can survive here in the level 68 system in Mirror Terix, but I can only kill one there at the moment, so that's not very useful for me. But there are systems all over the place with those Mirror Universe miners where you can get reputation for all three factions. And they changed the game. Until this was introduced, I would have said until the 500 billion lock, always take one faction, go to one lock, then get the next one to the lock, get the next one to the lock. But this Mirror Universe introduction here changed everything. From the point you can hunt the miners here in Mirror Universe, you can work on all three factions at the same time. And that is really nice. As I said, I'm emphasizing my Klingons at the moment. That's why I do the dailies and the daily events only for the Klingons. And so the others would fall down if I wouldn't have those mirror hostiles here. They are at least keeping my other two factions at level at the moment. They are not sinking, although I'm concentrating on the Klingons. But if I wouldn't go for the blueprints of the Koskari, which I need another 50 billion reputation for, I would work on all three at the same time. But I want to be able to get Koskari blueprints so that whenever I decide to upgrade my ops, that I will have the blueprints once I get to the ops and the shipyard level. And that's why I'm not going with all three at the moment. But I could. And that's the big change here in the game, and that's really nice. And the higher you get, the higher is the reputation rewards you get every time you hit. Don't forget to use, of course, a reputation crew. I'm using Picard, Enterprise E Picard with Enterprise E Data and 5 of 11 on the bridge. I use the Doctor and Bircher Kelra below deck and Alonzo Freeman. And those three together bring me a lot of reputation gains, combined with a loot crew on the bridge, which also works for reputation. And so I gain a lot. 61 is not perfect for me. I would prefer I could do 68 because that really boosts it. But every little thing counts. And that's why I wanted to make this video today again, although I talked about the locks before. Because this is a major change in this game. And so once again, as soon as you can start hunting those, and now we get back to the players for the earlier stages here in Tau Ceti, for example, you can change your game on your reputation. If you want to add something for our newer players, especially from the more experienced ones, and Prize, I know that you are far beyond me on that one, for example. Are you hunting 70s now, by the way? Nevertheless, if you want to add something, please write in the videos below, in the comments below the video and on Discord. And if you want to see another video right now, the next one is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.